Hello everyone, my name's Derek Hardy from the Hinch Distillery. I'm the marketing director and one of the originators of our Ninth Wave Irish Gin brand. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the development of our recipe for the Ninth Wave Gin and how important that has been to our continued success. Obviously, key in creating a superb gin recipe, which is something we believe we've done, is about getting the balance. It's about getting the balance between the botanicals and also how we use those botanicals in the production process. We want to get great base notes coming through in the recipe with the botanicals we've used, and also great high notes and front forward notes as well. So first of all, we've picked 9 botanicals for our Ninth Wave Gin, obviously, which ties in very nicely with the overall brand story. And the first of those, and most predominant, I suppose, very, very typically in gin, is juniper. So in our recipe, we've tried not to be overtly juniper based because we want to see the other botanicals in the recipe also shine through and become a key part of the recipe and the flavour profiles that come from that. So we've got a fairly light touch on our juniper within the recipe, but what it does do, it gives those kind of typical bittersweet notes. It also gives that nice menthol eucalyptus flavours coming through as well, and we believe gives a great base for the other botanicals then join. Moving on from talking about juniper, the first of the 9 botanicals in our Ninth Wave Irish Gin, we have a set of 6 botanicals that play a very important role in the base notes and flavours that come through in the gin recipe. I'm going to talk about these in 2 different sections of 3 and 3. The first 3 start with coriander seeds, which adds an element of spicy flavour coming through and little top notes of citrusness. Next we have cardamoms, which have a little bit of menthol and eucalyptus coming through, both in the aroma and in the flavour profile. And finally we have cassia bark, which plays a very important part in giving those kind of nice little ginger notes that come through in the gin. Moving on from the first 3 of the botanicals I've just mentioned, which play a very important role in the foundation of our Ninth Wave Irish Gin, we then have 2 roots which we add into the botanical mix. First of all is Angelica root, which gives nice flavours of sweet pine coming through and little bits of eucalyptus. Then we have orris root, which has a kind of earthiness to it. And then finally we have grains of paradise, which give lovely black pepper notes to the gin. The last of the 2 botanicals to discuss are both very citrus based. The first one being lemon peel, which adds very fresh and juicy lemon and citrus flavours on both the palate and on the aroma for our gin. And the second one is lemon verbena, which we only add into our production process in the infusion basket as we get towards the end of our distillation. It's a very delicate plant that we use, but it has great lemony qualities, which it adds particularly in terms of the aroma for our gin. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about Ninth Wave Irish Gin and the brand story that it comes from. Obviously, what you'll notice first of all is the fabulous bottle that we have, bespoke and designed specifically for Ninth Wave. A key part of that are the thematics, which are based around the Celtic past of the Irish people going back a couple of thousand years ago. And adorning the bottle, we have part of Celtic heritage and Celtic art, which is what is called the Triskelion, which is the triple spiral that adorns a lot of Celtic jewellery. The Ninth Wave name itself, that comes from Manannán Lir and his story. He was the Irish sea god, and where that is important in Celtic history and in Celtic religion is that the Ninth Wave was the barrier that you had to cross in the Celtic world to cross over from the normal world to what they called the other world, which was their form of heaven, where you would have an eternal peace and happiness. So altogether, we think the packaging is premium. We think it portrays our Irishness and our sense of our history. And also, we then think that with the gin and the quality of the product that we've presented within it, we've got a great package. Okay guys, I'd like to introduce you to the 2 Michaels, 2 very important guys in the whole creation of Ninth Wave Irish Gin. So to my left we've got Michael Morris, who's the International Sales Director with the Hinch Distillery. To my right we've got the infamous, should I say, Michael Stewart, the bar czar in Northern Ireland, who played a key part in coming up with the idea of Ninth Wave Gin. So we want to talk a little bit about how we did this. It took a long time to do it. It took a long time to pull this idea together and pull this fabulous recipe together. We want to take you through a bit of a tasting on the gin as well, what we think about it, and have a bit of crack, to be honest, and a few drinks as well. So really, I suppose the process was a pretty long one, Michael.
It was, and that culminated in bringing together the final couple of recipes, which from memory, because this was a year ago.
Just a year ago.
we had bottle A and bottle B.
Eventually,
Eventually,
after a lot of
after a lot of toing and froing, and I think I remember flat lemonade was mentioned as a taste, and that didn't make the cut, obviously.
No, definitely.
But from bottle A and bottle B, you guys then took it from there, and off you went to the experts.
Yeah, I suppose that's the kind of summary of what we did. But I suppose we started with what kind of we were looking for in a gin. I mean, that's really where it originated from. And what were our reference points? What did we like in certain gins? What did we not like? What did we want customers to like? And I suppose that came from, I suppose, Michael, a desire to have something that's very contemporary.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning, and it certainly is very alive in my head, that we had already decided, which Derek mentioned earlier on the packaging. A superb piece of packaging, of course, needed to be matched with top quality liquid, so that created a pressure in itself, which is why we were under pressure to make sure that the liquid matched the bottle, and that's my great memory of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And just, I mean, again, with 33 years in the hospitality industry, you know,
You started when you were 7?
6, I think it was.
6, all right, okay.
You and I ran around together.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of companies in any walk of life are good at being better than each other, but sometimes they're not good at being different. And the thing about this is it's different. It's a different bottle. It's a great bottle, but it's only matched by the great liquid that goes inside it.
Shall we pour some?
Let's have some of that great liquid.
I think that's probably a good idea.
Give it to you, you're the
Shall
expert.
I do it?
Yeah.
Over to you.
This will be interesting.
Try not to spill it everywhere.
Ladies first.
So kind, thank you.
Ooh.
Down the side of the glass, on the table. Disaster. So this is always the fun part.
Seems like yesterday.
Off you go.
Seems like yesterday. Yeah, very definitely. It just brings us back immediately, and we get the the lovely note. The citrus note comes through to me right away, and it was one of the defining, I guess, notes that we were trying to pick up, and the lemon verbena in particular delivered that, and that's the primary thing that I get.
And I think it's something, anytime we do a tasting of this, anytime we involve a lot of consumers, you know, that lemoniness, that citrus flavors coming through, those notes coming through, is very appealing to people, and that's something I kind of think we knew we wanted, and we didn't want an overly heavy juniper kind of note coming through, but we wanted the juniper to be there, you know, it's an important part of it. So yeah, and then lots of layers of flavors in the palate.
You know, and there's as many people as there are opinions, and you know, when at the table with all the different connotations we had, it was interesting to note that 3 people landed on the same characteristics. I mean, I get cinnamon coming through that.
Yeah.
You know, and cinnamon's one of my favorite things. Don't know about you. Do you like cinnamon?
I like, actually, the pepperiness is kind of thing I like. Black pepper's a big thing in me, you know, and I can definitely get that. So there's you know, there's kind of peaks and troughs of different flavors that different people get. That's kind of interesting as well. You know, I don't think everybody likes it necessarily for just the same reason. What about you, Michael? What's your thoughts?
Well, so, yeah, cinnamon, ginger as well.
Yeah.
I quite like, and I think this comes through in the botanical base. Very nice, very contemporary style. Really love it, actually.
When we were playing around with this, you talked about you didn't want it you felt that it shouldn't be too much top heavy on the juniper.
Yeah.
Reason? Yeah.
Why? Yeah, I think the reason was that we were always going to put 9 botanicals into it. I mean, that kind of as a theme and tying in with the Ninth Wave story, that we thought that was just nice, and it gave us enough flexibility to bring lots of different flavors to the gin. But I felt that I think we all ultimately ended up feeling that if it was going to be too juniper forward, you were going to mask too many of those other, you know, nice layers of flavor that you could bring in with the different botanicals. And so I think we've managed that. You know, all those botanical notes, they all shine at different points in it. Sometimes they actually shine depending what you have as a mixer with it, depending what the circumstance or what the cocktail is, but they all kind of get their moment in time.
Guess what? That's a great lead. That's only going to be even better with a good tonic in it.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I think we prepared some of those earlier, didn't we, Michael?
Should we go
Just
to you?
in the classic Blue Peter style.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Some we prepared earlier. Over to you again, Mr. Stewart. Sir.
And I think what's great about this from a bartender's point of view is there's a great story behind the product. There's a great story behind the bottle, and obviously when the bartenders know exactly everything about Ninth Wave, they'll know what's in it. So that's a story that can be talked about at
Point of sale, in a
Point of
bar,
sale,
in a
yeah.
restaurant, wherever.
And as you can see, in case anybody's not missed it, we've our own classic, which we hope to be a classic, Ninth Wave glass here. And in these days of the balloon glass, I think we are taking a different step again in terms of it being a contemporary style, and this kind of throwback to a more classic style of long gin glass, I think, is something that we've gone for.
There's a lot of thoughts on that, and back in the day, vodka was vodka, and then the gin thing came along. There's a lot of gins, and then bartenders and owners decided they felt that they needed this balloon type glass to release the aromas and the botanicals, but maybe things are changing again, and people are going back to old school and basics, and it's a great glass for a great product.
Yeah, it's a bit retro, but it's retro. The gin's very modern and contemporary. I think that's a pretty nice mix as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. Always take it back also to basics, 43% alcohol, so that means that there's a definite sense of the gin in the long drink, and if you get a top quality tonic, as we have with the new Schweppes here, matching our liquid, lime and so on, this is definitely a perfect G&T. It's very, very, very nice, even if I say so myself.
Well, here guys, I suppose it's all we can do now is say sláinte.
Sláinte.
Enjoy our drink. We've done our work. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.